We know you're kind of friends with Ilia too, and you're friends with Arman. Do you see them fighting this year?
I hope so. It's a good fight for the both guys. So fighting is, we need to know who is the best fighter in the world. So the both guys is best fighters now. So I will be happy to watch that fight. Yeah, it's a crazy fight. Arman is good moves. Like, he has a good kick, good wrestling, and the other guy has a good jiu-jitsu, a good puncher, So it would be cool to watch that fight.
Ilia Topuria kicked off a storm when he basically told Arman Tsarukyan that every time they run into each other, the Armenian contender phrases like a timid little bird that doesn't know whether to fly or run. The whole thing escalated in a matter of hours around UFC Qatar weekend, a card where both men were present for entirely different reasons. Topuria wasn't competing, but he was very much in the spotlight as the reigning lightweight champion. He traveled to Doha to corner his brother Alexander, who walked out of the ABHA arena with a solid bantamweight victory. Meanwhile, Tsarukyan had his own business to handle, and he did so in emphatic fashion. In the main event, he rolled through Dan Hooker, overpowering him with a dominant performance that ended in a second-round submission.
That's a quick little breakdown how Arman beat Dan Hooker. First of all, he took him down. Boom! Once he got him on the ground, he put him on his back, flat on his back. He put his arm by his head, and then he grabbed his own arm and choked him like this until Dan Hooker got a tap out.
The win only boosted Tsarukyan's status as the clear top challenger at 155 pounds, something he had already established through consistent performances. This time, however, with the champion watching from just a few feet away, he used the spotlight to crank up the pressure. As soon as the fight ended, he turned his attention toward Topuria, insisting the champion was avoiding him and saying he was ready to step in as early as the end of January if the UFC wanted to make it happen. He pushed the idea that timing, willingness, and ranking were already aligned, and all that remained was getting the green light.
Is there a chance if they said to you, hey, you can fight for the belt, but it has to be in January, could you turn around that fast?
Of course. I can rest 1 week, fly to US and stay there 2 months. It's enough time to get ready. I didn't get any injured, thank God, and they have to say that. And hopefully on Tuesday they announced that fight, and me fighting main event with Topuria. Gotta take that chance, and I have pretty time to get ready.
Tsarukyan's confidence carried into the post-fight press conference, where he leaned into the idea that being a serious fighter isn't enough in today's UFC. He admitted that the sport is just as much about entertainment and media presence as it is about actual skill. So he was more than happy to stir things up in order to put himself right in front of the champion. He believed he matched up well against Topuria, picturing himself trading strikes at distance and then using his wrestling whenever things got too close for comfort. His belief in his ability wasn't something new, it was something he'd vocalized before. But this time, he emphasized that none of the tension between them came from a personal place. From his perspective, it was simply business and promotional strategy, nothing more. If there had been real animosity, he felt the two would have handled it privately long ago.
I beat Dan Hooker and fighting for the title next.
There's some talk of Ilia Topuria maybe moving up to welterweight again without defending his lightweight belt. Would you want him to be the guy you fight for the belt?
No, for me it doesn't matter. I want to be a champion. Who is gonna be a champion, I'll fight. I'll take the fight.
Things might have calmed down there if Topuria didn't decide to jump into the conversation the next morning. Instead, he fanned the flames by posting a clip of a backstage moment, showing both fighters interacting in a surprisingly friendly way. The footage captured them chatting, smiling, and even making light physical contact. But Topuria used that moment to create a completely different narrative, claiming that every time Tsarukyan sees him in person, the Armenian contender freezes and doesn't know how to behave. He painted himself as the more dominant presence, saying the dynamic between them always tips in his favor. He even added that he had playfully smacked Tsarukyan in the past and that Tsarukyan had simply laughed it off rather than reacted.
Ilia got family money. Ilia's rich. And then Tsarukyan just housing. $1,000 a bite of caviar. He's just housing like caviar. Like, Arman's like rich. Could you imagine two rich dudes fighting for a UFC title? Like, two rich dudes that didn't get their money in fighting would be the craziest thing because rich dudes don't fight.
That interpretation didn't sit well with Tsarukyan, who fired back almost immediately, refusing to let Topuria's version of events go unchallenged. From his perspective, the backstage moment was nothing but a harmless, casual interaction, and he saw Topuria's attempt to rewrite it as desperation. He made it clear that if Topuria ever truly wanted to find out what a real slap felt like, he would be more than willing to demonstrate inside the octagon. He didn't feel the need to act tough online because he believed his fighting does the talking for him. And in a twist of humor, he embraced Topuria's duck comparison by flipping it back at the champion, even calling him by a playful nickname built around that image.
So I've got MMA news for you, and there's this video of Arman and Ilia going around. Ilia has his arm around Arman's neck like he's embracing him. He kind of casually walks off. Arman looks to be in good spirits. It doesn't look like a negative reaction. Ilia then tweets this: "Arman, every time we see each other in person, you freeze up like a scared duck with no idea what to do. You know I handle you however I want. I fight whoever the UFC chooses, and remember, I slapped you and you just laughed. Then you go around acting like a gangster, so keep going. You're on the right path, just a few levels below me, kid." Yeah, dude, Ilia didn't slap Arman. Arman had a response to this saying, "Bro, you touched my neck like we were taking a family photo, and now you're calling it a slap online. The clip is clear. Your insecurity is even clearer. I don't need to act tough for Twitter. My work is inside the cage. If you want to know what a real slap feels like, I'll be happy to educate you. See you soon, El Pato," with the duck emoji. I don't know, like, are these guys like in on the joke here? Like, are they trolling us? Like, they like say they hate each other, but they actually don't, because these two have talked so much about each other, and this fight needs to happen. They need to book it.
The back and forth post created a ripple effect across the MMA world. Fans split into camps, with Tsarukyan's stock rising rapidly after handling Hooker and Topuria holding the lightweight belt after knocking out Charles Oliveira earlier that year. The timing of the feud couldn't have been more explosive.
I know that you've already made your case, that's what you want next, and it makes complete sense. Why will you be able to be the one to defeat him?
I mean, you can watch my fights and to see like I'm a well-rounded fighter. I can strike, I can wrestle, I can kick, and my endurance is good, my condition, I'm explosive, confident, young. I don't know, I can like go so much things. I'm better than him, you know. He's maybe his hands is not faster but powerful, but I'm not gonna stay on that distance.
However, despite the intensity of their verbal exchanges, Topuria has not fought since capturing the championship. His next move has remained a mystery, and the UFC has floated names that don't include Tsarukyan as immediate opponents. Paddy Pimblett and Justin Gaethje are widely believed to be his most likely options for his first title defense. Those two fighters bring massive attention, bigger marketing appeal, and high-profile storylines. Topuria himself, before all the online commotion, had also expressed interest in moving up again, potentially setting his sights on Islam Makhachev at welterweight. That idea alone suggests his focus may not be tightly locked in Tsarukyan. It isn't that he's avoiding him, but rather that his goals appear to be stretching across weight classes rather than sticking to a single division.
But Ilia's walking by. Oh, and he just threw it at him? Or did Ilia throw something first?
Dude, he's lucky that table was there, dude, because imagine Ilia.
You see how he rolled that too? What?
That shit's funny. If I am Arman Tsarukyan, you gotta find a way to see Ilia and to let him know what you're feeling and have people record it, and it's gonna go viral. You know what I'm saying? Create drama,
right.
Create a buzz.
The weekend confrontation wasn't simply about the call-out or the responses, though. It expanded into multiple areas of the MMA world. For example, Sean O'Malley offered his own theory about why the UFC might not be in a rush to book Topuria against Tsarukyan. From his perspective, Tsarukyan represents a serious risk for the champion. He even suggested the organization may prefer to keep Topuria as the title holder rather than risk a stylistic matchup that could upset the division. O'Malley didn't rule out the possibility of Topuria catching Tsarukyan with a knockout, but he felt Tsarukyan had the strongest chance of dethroning the Georgian Spanish champion compared to anyone else at lightweight, acknowledging that more recognizable names like Gaethje or Pimblett would create a louder buzz for Topuria's next outing.
Versus Ilia is an interesting matchup. I do not think the UFC will make Arman versus Ilia because I think they love Ilia as a champion. He's a great champion, and I don't think they really want Arman to become champion. He has a legitimate chance at beating Ilia. I can't believe I said it. I think Ilia might knock him out, but if anyone has a chance of beating Arman at Ilia at 155, it's Arman.
Meanwhile, Georges St. Pierre, the respected legend whose opinions carry weight across every MMA discussion, added more credibility to Tsarukyan's rise. In a sit-down appearance with Adin Ross, he listed the fighters he considers the best pound-for-pound in the world. Islam Makhachev and Topuria were at the top for him, but he also included names like Merab Dvalishvili, John Jones, and Alex Pereira. Importantly, he placed Tsarukyan right in the mix as someone who deserves to be part of that conversation. St. Pierre acknowledged Tsarukyan's most recent performance as a major moment, reinforcing how strong the contender looked and how much potential he has as a true future champion.
Very possible.
Who's your top 5 pound for pound currently right now, UFC?
Well, I think Islam Makhachev is there for sure.
Yeah.
Topuria is there as well. Merad, Arman Tsarukyan, I have a hard time. Tsarukyan is there too.
He had a great fight today. He did great.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And of course, John Jones is there. I believe John Jones.
You still put John Jones in your top 5?
I think I would put him there because of what he's done. You never know. You know what I mean? He left for a long time. He came and he beat Stipe. There's rumor that talks about him fighting at the White House against
Pereira, right?
Pereira. That would be interesting. Pereira is one of the top right now. Actually, on paper, you have to give it.
Khamzat Chimaev also weighed in with heavy praise, saying he considered Tsarukyan not just a top contender, but arguably the best fighter in the division. Chimaev wasn't shy about calling Tsarukyan championship material, stressing that he deserved a title shot after his standout showing. He went as far as saying Tsarukyan should already be treated as the rightful next challenger because of how good he is.
Все видели, что ты сделал сейчас с Хукером, видели брутальный финиш с Дариушем из последнего. А ты вот мог бы в красках описать, как бы ты хотел завершить бой с Топурью?
Топурию я бы хотел забить локтями, просто изрезать все лицо и закончить ТКО.
Кстати, вот если говорить про лицо, ты видел Хукера лицо?
Да.
Сейчас просто вот сразу открыл, покажу.
Покажи. Жалко Хукера. Вот еще вот другой глаз еще так же сделать Топурия, вообще будет бомба.
However, Tsarukyan's road to this moment has already had some bumps. Earlier in the year, he was actually scheduled to challenge Islam Makhachev for the lightweight title, but had to withdraw just a day before the event due to a back injury. UFC leadership, particularly Dana White, wasn't thrilled about the situation and seemed to back away from giving him another immediate title opportunity. When Makhachev later vacated the belt to move divisions, Tsarukyan found himself pushed outside the title picture. Watching from the sidelines as Topuria stepped into the vacant spot and claimed the championship by taking out Oliveira.
Ilia, why are you running?
I will take your lights out in the first round.
That history adds another layer of frustration to Tsarukyan's perspective. He has worked his way back with 2 important victories and now sits firmly as the top contender, yet still doesn't know if the UFC will reward him for it. Topuria's public interest seems scattered. The UFC's promotional interests appear to lean toward more flashy matchups, and Tsarukyan's patience is wearing thin. Still, he is pushing forward, ready to accept a quick turnaround if needed, and constantly reminding both fans and the UFC itself that he's prepared for whatever timetable they want. His stance is simple. He's earned the shot, he's ready for the shot, and it's only fair that he gets it next.
Does Arman Tsarukyan beat Ilia Topuria? So Arman absolutely ran through Dan Hooker as expected, but it's crazy to see him display no ring rust despite being out for so long. But man, having Khamzat in your corner is just elite, and these guys have really been helping each other become better fighters. So to me, it's clear that Arman is next for the shot at the title. None of this nonsense with Justin Gaethje or Paddy Pimblett. The fight to make is Ilia and Arman, and do I think Arman has what it takes to beat Ilia? I definitely think he has the tools, because although I favor Ilia more on the feet, I definitely favor Arman on the ground, but at the same time, both guys are solid wherever the fight goes. So I think it's a tough fight to call, especially because I can never pick against Ilia, but I do know this is the toughest test for him at lightweight, and if he fights someone else or tries to move up to fight Islam, then he's ducking the #1 contender at 155. But what do you think?
All the while, Ilia Topuria sits in a powerful position, holding the lightweight championship and maintaining an air of confidence that suggests no challenger worries him. His online response to Tsarukyan was more than just trash talk. It was a reminder that he sees himself as levels above the competition. He knows fans are watching his every move and that the division revolves around him now. Whether he chooses the money fight, the hype fight, or the toughest challenge, the decision will ultimately shape the landscape of the 155-pound class for the next year. Tsarukyan, on the other hand, continues to rely on his performances to speak for him. He doesn't see the need to act out for attention, but he's willing to engage when provoked. The feud between the two isn't built in personal hatred, but the momentum of their careers has pushed them straight into each other's paths.
Are you a little bit disappointed that this week Ilia didn't seem to want to have anything to do with you?
I mean, I didn't want to mention too much Ilia because I was focused on my fight. But after today, I'm gonna try to again create some crazy videos that are gonna be viral and try to make a joke, you know, and to bring a lot of eyes for that fight because it's like a media sport too, you know. You gotta be a good fighter and a good showman. Hopefully on Tuesday they announced that fight and me fighting main event with Topuria when it's gonna be in Vegas or in Los Angeles. So I'm ready. I gotta take that chance and I have pretty time to get ready. In my mind go like I can strike with him on the long distance, but when he wants to try like to box me and throw his hard punch at that moment, I'm gonna shoot and take him down. So, and I believe myself and I know I can beat him so easy as well.
If the UFC chooses spectacle, Tsarukyan may have to wait. If they choose competitive merit, the fight is undeniable. One thing is certain, after everything that happened at UFC Qatar weekend, the rivalry between Arman Tsarukyan and Ilia Topuria is no longer just a matchmaking suggestion, it's a storyline that fans will track closely, with both fighters pushing harder than ever to prove who truly belongs at the top of the lightweight world.